What's up, people? Morton's Law Podcast here. Exclusive hit on YouTube. Memorial Day weekend. AEW's Double or Nothing Sunday night on pay-per-view. And I just wanted to go over the show from AEW's Dynamite last night, which was the go-home show. I just wanted to get into a few things that some were alarming, some were good. And let's start with the alarming first. So they announced that we're going to get a weigh-in with Paul White hosting for Anthony Ogogo and Cody. They have the scale out there. Everything is ready to go. And then we get the introductions. And to say that was way overblown in terms of entourage, especially for Cody, it was ridiculous. I mean, I think Cody loves himself to another level that no man can love themselves. He does things, I think, to please himself, maybe his wife, I don't know. But everything is way over the top. I think he pulled homeless people off the streets in Jacksonville to be part of his entourage. It was just ridiculous. And then we get to the weigh-in. And Paul White, I don't think he's ever done this before because it took forever. And then he's behind the scale trying to do the weigh-in, which was just absurd. And, I mean, it makes you think, was this a shoot weigh-in? Would you not rather have both guys just get on the scale, 1, 2, 3, and oh, here's their weight? Like, you should know their weight before they get on the scale. Like, it just should have been a worked weigh-in. Instead, Paul White is taking forever. Like, oh my God, this became a painful segment to watch. It was just like, what is the point of this? Paul White ended up looking like an idiot. It's like, what? Oh man, brutal. And then the same thing happened when Ogogo got on the scale. I was just like, man, unless they didn't know it was going to take this long, which, again, just work the weight. You don't have to do a real weigh-in. It was just a waste of television time. You have a 2-hour show, and this segment was one of the worst segments in AEW history. And if you watch the show, that's saying a lot. It was so bad. It made me angry watching it. I'm like, just announce the weight already. It was just, killing time. And then to make matters worse, it just ended. It just ended. Nothing happened. No face-to-face. No promo. No pull-apart. Nothing. How are you selling this match on your pay-per-view? It's like they didn't care. How do you expect the audience to care? In fact, the end of the segment had Cody chumming it up with the Big Show, laughing. What is that? It was so bad. And as you watch Cody, you're like, what is he doing? Some of the things he does. By the way, I learned that the promo he cut, the epic fail of the American Dream promo, apparently it was tested by a focus group. What were these people watching that made them think this was good? It was one of the worst promos ever. It was so pretentious, as I said, if you heard my episode on Morton's Law Podcast. It's just like, Cody, wake up. It's like Cody lives in bizarro world. I don't know what he thinks is good. All right, up next we get, and I could not believe they announced this, because I know, look, the crowd looked great. Everybody back at Daily's place for the most part. It wasn't sold out. They did a good job of bringing everybody by the ring to make it look more full than it was. They never gave you a wide shot of the entire building, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, but still, it was good to have the crowd there on top of the action. It looked a lot better. With that said, I don't even think the AEW fan base, in fact, I know this just from hearing about it, nobody cares about Joey Janela, yet they continually, I shouldn't say continually because he's been in witness protection on Dark and Elevation, but to put him out there in a match against Hangman Adam Page was insulting. It was insulting because you knew when this match came on, something bad was going to happen, because it normally does with Janela. It's just a bad match. And I just cringed when I heard this. And furthermore, you're like, all right, AEW, it seems like they go out of their way to bury Hangman Page. And we talk about this all the time. Not just the losses, but here, in this match, against Janela. You couldn't give him another match? It was, man, I feel bad for Page sometimes. You're like, and then on top of it, you make him go almost 12 minutes through a commercial break, and you can't beat Joey Janela in that time. I mean, look, finally he won the match, but this match should have been 5 minutes. I mean, Janela's a hack, let's be honest. He's just an indie garbage wrestler. Just bad. I mean, and then it got worse from the standpoint of this. There's blood everywhere, and it's coming from Paige's forehead, and you're like, what happened? And this is like, it was like massive head wound Harry from Saturday Night Live back in the day. Just gushing, leaking like a faucet. You're like, this man needs medical attention. What is he still doing in the ring? And finally, he wins the match, but I'm sitting there thinking about this. I'm like, think about Dusty Rhodes and how many times he bladed his forehead. Abdul the Butcher. If these guys could if these guys could get busted open hard way, they wouldn't have had a blade. I mean, that was just tough. And then, so Paige wins. And then we get Taz, who's always at commentary whenever he wants to be. I don't understand. Has Taz become annoying? Answer that question, because Taz used to be a real badass heel, and now he's kind of like a whiny manager, and it's just, then he goes to the commentary table and he tries to call matches like he's not partial, and it's just so weird watching Taz nowadays. Like, I have zero interest in his character. And then, of course, out comes Team Taz, which Paige predicted, and then Cage is in the ring, and they're face-to-face. He says, you could do this without your entourage, and we need to go one-on-one. And I'm just watching. I'm like, can someone get Paige to a hospital? I mean, it's just, is this guy going to be okay for Sunday? That was pretty ugly to watch. But, okay. Oh, man, I'll say this about AEW. Sometimes it's must-see, but for the wrong reasons. It is what it is. So next segment, well, not next segment, I'm floating around here to what caught my eye. So now we get the participants in what will be the three-way match for the world title. So out comes Pac, cuts a promo. Don Callis is on the big screen. Omega jumps Pac. They go at it. Pac gets the advantage. Out comes Orange Cassidy. And I'll say this. They got something right here. And then one thing I didn't care for, which you can debate. You can debate what I didn't care for. But the one thing they did get right is this. If you're an Orange Cassidy fan, they did this right by having him end the segment being the guy. Because now he's in the ring and you're like, wow, he has a legit chance to win this title on Sunday night. And that's the goal. That's your goal of your go-home show, is to make people care and want to order this, to see, wow, he could win. I mean, unlike the Cody Ogogo segment, this made you care about this. Because you're like, wow, okay, maybe he can win. Now, again, I don't know what their goal for the title is going forward. I mean, just mentioned Adam Page, and everyone thinks he should be in line for a title shot at some point. Now maybe they can revisit Adam Page as being a top guy. I mean, I'm inclined to believe he's going to beat Brian Cage Sunday night. I hope he does anyway. And then perhaps now they finally get him going. And of course, as we heard during the week, All Out has been announced for Chicago in September. And like, I don't think they're changing the title here tonight. I don't. But the one thing that I'll say in terms of this pay-per-view and this segment, if you're gonna do this segment, I feel like this has to go off the air. And they just continually force feed the whole Stadium Stampede down our throats. And the world title has to matter more. I don't want the world title in the middle of the card. Because as you've seen over the years, think about this for a second. If the world title is not the main event, how often, if ever, does the title change hands? So you're essentially giving away the end, knowing, because think about it, if Orange Cassidy win the title, you want it to go off the air. That is a huge deal. That's a big deal. I mean, at this point, do we really care about the Pinnacle, whether they win or lose? I mean, I know people care, but Orange is the bigger deal. So if I were to change anything in this show, Dynamite, Friday night, I would have had Orange Cassidy go off the air. Now, again, they gave us the Pinnacle, so whatever. Moving along, we get Shida. They give her a new title. And you hear stuff about Shida being champion during the entire pandemic, and that apparently it's her dream to perform in front of a full crowd. And she didn't get that opportunity. Sunday night she will. But did you look at that title by any chance? Did it look much different? It was just like slightly bigger version of that title. But, and then by the way, just like Paul White's inability to weigh people, how about Tony Schiavone? You could not put the title on her. It's like, Tony, come on, let's go. Live TV. Brutal. So, I mean, look, and then Britt Baker comes out, classic promo. Well, I didn't say classic, but she references the 316 era, and then she says the era upcoming is going to be DMD, which was cool. Look, I think this title was created for her. I can't imagine Britt Baker not winning this match. It would be a surprise to, I think, everyone. So this is pretty obvious in terms of who's going to win here. Do you notice at Excalibur sometimes, and I hate to get on the guy, he's a decent announcer, not as good as a lot of people think, but he struggles with promos sometimes. He doesn't know what day it is. He butchers a lot of just live reads. It's really bad. But, I mean, still not as bad as JR. Just like, JR continuously has to tell us about the past. He loves to reference the past. Has he gotten better slightly with putting people over today? Maybe. But that's just it's a rough listen overall, that broadcast. And do we really need Jim Ross in 2021? Is anyone tuning into AEW Dynamite or pay-per-view and saying, oh, look, it's Jim Ross. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to keep watching AEW for Jim Ross. It's bad. Sorry. But, so moving along. So the Pinnacle comes out. A couple good promos from Santana, Ortiz, and then Hager gets the mic. Well, Hager got the mic first, excuse me. And Hager should never speak. I mean, his promo wasn't bad when you look at it as a whole, but his voice is terrible. Like, oh my God, he's so bad. And as I'm watching this promo and just thinking about AEW in general, this thought crossed my mind. AEW is loaded with a bunch of Barry Horowitzes, if you remember the jobber from the 80s. And what I mean by that is everyone in this company, at least the stars, love to pat themselves on the back. They just love to tell you how great they are, how good they do in this business and the history of this business and what they accomplished. I don't know. It's too much to take sometimes. And look, this Stadium Stampede match, do you really care? It's going to be okay. It's not going to be great. I mean, does the Pinnacle finally break up? I don't know. I mean, is it time? Does the Inner Circle finally break up? It's possible. I mean, if you want to keep putting over the Pinnacle, it would make sense. I just don't know what direction they're going in. It's a lot of question marks here. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on AEW Dynamite, the go-home show. I mean, hopefully Adam Page wins. I think Britt Baker will win. You flip a coin on the main, well, let's say, I just hope Stadium Stampede isn't the main event. But world title, I see Omega retaining. Oh, Moxley, I forgot one. Moxley and Kingston against the Young Bucks. I think they'll end up beating Kingston in this match. I mean, I would like to see a title change there. That's possible, but unlikely. And like I said, flip a coin on the Stadium Stampede match. So thank you guys for checking this out. I'll be back on Tuesday on Morton's Law Podcast, all platforms. That'll be my regular hit. It won't be on YouTube. And yeah, so I'll probably review Double or Nothing, and I'll get some thoughts in on the NBA. So thanks again. Don't forget on Twitter at Mortons_Law. And if you like this, hit like. Please also subscribe. Spread the word. Thank you very much, and God bless gay sex.